Family and Consumer Sciences Extension at the University of Kentucky. Our agents share research knowledge with individuals, families, and communities to improve quality of life. Building strong families, building Kentucky. It starts with us.
Hello, I'm Vicki Wynn. I'm the Family and Consumer Sciences Agent at the Marshall County Extension Office. And today I'd like to talk to you about smoothies. And everybody thinks different about smoothies. They think maybe it's a treat, maybe it's a meal, maybe it's a snack. And all of those would be correct. But there is some method to that madness and how to construct a smoothie. So today we'll talk about building a better smoothie. There are actually 3 steps. We'll go over those 3 steps and some of the ingredients that you may have at home, and you can make those work for you. But everybody's taste is different, everybody's needs are different in terms of dietary requirements. So we want to talk about the different ways that you can build a better smoothie. The 3 steps that we're going to talk about are base, bulk, and boost. So first of all, when we talk about base, that would be the first thing that you would put into your blender or your smoothie maker, whatever appliance you have. And the base could be either liquid or creamy. Keep in mind, if you use a liquid base, such as some of the dairy that we have here, or non-dairy, then we can know that your smoothie is going to be a little thinner. You'll still be able to drink that through a straw. But if you use something creamy, such as the yogurt or the cottage cheese, it may thicken it just a little bit, as well as some of the other ingredients that you add. So the non-dairy milks, if you will, of course, there's just a large variety, and we have oat milk, we have almond milk here, we have some others, rice milk, coconut milk. Just depends on what your preference is in flavor. So we can just say that anytime you build a smoothie, you want to keep in mind that you want to make sure it's unsweetened, because we're trying to cut down on added sugar, whether that be in some of the fruit juices or the milks or the non-dairy products. Unsweetened is key. You probably would read labels anyway, but when you're building a smoothie, you want to make sure that you read the labels on the ingredients and make sure that you don't have a lot of unnecessary ingredients. And just to mention that when you order a smoothie, say at a restaurant or a drive-through somewhere, they're very popular these days. You might find that their smoothies are going to look different and taste different, but keep in mind their sugar content and their added ingredients are probably going to be more than what you could build at home and cut down on some of those higher sugar content ingredients. So we've got the non-dairy options. We also have milk. It's good to use the skim milk. You could also use reduced fat milk, a 1% or 2%, but it's good to use when you're using frozen fruits or vegetables in your smoothie. So that is the part that we're going to use as the base. And then also we can use the yogurts. We could use Greek yogurt. We prefer to use the 2% fat Greek yogurt. The texture is going to be just right for a smoothie. The flavor is going to be good. And a lot of people say they prefer using the vanilla Greek yogurt if they can find that in the 2%. And of course that is an option. The regular low-fat yogurt is also good to use with smoothies. If you're not watching your added sugar quite as much, you can use that. But it makes it creamy. It adds some extra protein, as well as the cottage cheese, of course, is a dairy product. And we want to make sure that We're still keeping in mind that we want the extra protein, but aim for the lower added sugar. And we want to make sure that when we make those choices that we're not adding a lot unnecessarily. Of course, fruit juice, this one's frosted up a little bit on me, but pineapple juice, of course, orange juice. There's all kinds of fruit juices you can get, but make sure too that it is no extra sugar added. And that way, whether you're using fruit juice or vegetable juice, that you've read the label and you see that there is no added sugar to that. And another option besides the dairy and the non-dairy is adding water. Of course, that's available, that's very inexpensive, it's affordable, and it will also yield a thin consistency for your smoothie. So if you're adding enough flavor throughout your recipe, then water might be a good choice for building that smoothie. So those have covered our base ingredients. We have our non-dairy, our dairy options, and then of course fruit juice as well. And the next step of building this smoothie after the base is the bulk. So the bulk is going to be the biggest part of your smoothie. It will be the largest portion of your smoothie. It will consist of your fruits or vegetables, and we want to make sure that we're choosing things that are full of nutrients. Of course, as you can see here, the blueberries, the spinach, of course strawberries and the banana, they're flavorful. They're also high in nutrients, and we want to make sure that we are choosing items for our smoothie that will complement whatever our base ingredients are. So this is going to provide the flavor, the color, the texture for your smoothie. So flavors that you enjoy. There are options for fresh fruits and vegetables. You also can use frozen. Now you can buy packets at the grocery that are a mix of frozen fruit ingredients and even some vegetables. And these are already ready to add to your smoothie. And for someone who is just making one or two, this is cost effective because it would cost quite a bit to purchase all of the items that are contained in those ingredients. Although you can purchase the fruits and portion those out and freeze them and make them ready. If you've got a freezer bag, and I really always freeze my bananas if I have extra bananas that I'm not going to use and don't want them to go bad. So you can freeze those bananas and you can toss those right into the blender when you're making your smoothies. So it's good to have a variety. Everybody's taste preference is different. The pre-chopped frozen fruits and vegetables are an option. If you are doing your own, you can leave the peel on. That is going to add extra fiber and even extra flavor. So keep the peel on if you're using your own fruits and vegetables. And the way that our blenders or smoothie makers are built today, those blades are going to take care of any stems or any leaves or stalks that you might have. So it's good to include that because you're going to have extra fiber, you're going to have extra vitamins and so forth. So you're still keeping within no added sugar by using your own fruits and vegetables. Also, another option is canned fruits and vegetables. That is an option that you can use, and that way you can always have that on hand. It's not always convenient to have fresh fruits and vegetables in your home, but if you are wanting to make a smoothie, you have some canned peaches, canned pears, canned any fruit or vegetable, you can add that. It's really a great opportunity to increase how many fruits and vegetables you eat in a day. You know, a lot of us have trouble eating the required number of servings of fruits and vegetables per day. So if we have our smoothie, this smoothie I built earlier today has spinach in it, it has strawberries in it, has bananas in it, and that is going to fulfill my requirement for one of each of those during a day's intake. So one banana and half a cup of strawberries and about a cup of spinach. So it really makes a difference in what you can consume. And a lot of people say they make their smoothies ahead of time, put them in the freezer, and then they have them ready to go. And it's recommended that you thaw a frozen smoothie on the counter or in your kitchen area rather than in the refrigerator, because the consistency, the texture is going to be better if it thaws while just sitting out on the counter as opposed to thawing in the refrigerator. So keep in mind that this is a really good way to get your fruits and vegetable intake in by adding that bulk to your smoothie. The third part of our smoothie, after the base and then the bulk, is now the boost. And the boost is this category right here with a lot of different flavors. You can boost with not only these, but you could boost with soft beans. I know a lot of people that put white northern beans. Of course, that's a source of protein. You could use black beans. You can use any type of beans that is a protein source. It thickens it as well as adding that extra protein. You could add oats because that will thicken and add fiber. It can make you feel fuller longer. Of course, nut butters, and we know that they come in a very large selection. There's peanut butters, there is almond butter, and a lot of other specialty butters. If you look in the grocery store now, there's a very large section. What used to be peanut butter has now expanded with a lot of these other, and it's very, very easy to add those into your smoothie. And as well, some flavors would be honey, and of course honey is a very natural sweetener, and a lot of smoothie recipes do call for honey. Also some cinnamon and some vanilla, and these are just a very small selection of some of the items that you could include as a boost for flavor. Also, you see a lot now of flax seeds and chia seeds. They add texture, they add nutrients, and add fiber, protein, and healthy fats into your smoothie as well. So research that, learn more about what options you have to enhance the flavor of your smoothie, and just make sure that these flavor combinations with fruits and vegetables that you put all together for your smoothie is going to be something very pleasant that you enjoy. You know, kids love anything with a straw, and you can make a batch of these smoothies, pour them into smaller containers, and the children can enjoy them. Of course, any kind of cup and straw that you might have. The smoothie makers now, this particular one is built where you press and it will blend the ingredients, and also comes with the cups that have the lid for storage or for taking with you, and has the spout on top. So these are very easy to use and have ready to go. So these are becoming more and more popular. For one or two people, I say these are very, very easy to use. They're convenient. There's not a lot of cleanup, and so that is something that we want to keep in mind, that it's not really something that you have to purchase a lot of equipment for. People ask me, what is the best blender to have to make smoothies? And I will always say the blender you currently have, because it will work just as well. This is just a typical kitchen blender, and for the most part, these are going to have a setting on them that say puree, smoothie, or icy drink. So the speed is automatically adjusted for making smoothies, and so takes all the guesswork out. You don't really have to know how long or what speed or the time involved, so it makes it more convenient. You can just push that button and it'll do all the work for you. As we said, you can do a batch, you can freeze those. You can either freeze your finished smoothie in a zipper bag that is designed for the freezer. Of course, we have storage bags and freezer bags. Make sure you're using the freezer bag, and these will lay flat, easy to store, and then you can put this out on the counter to thaw and then pour it into another container. Tempered glass jars, or canning jars as we know them most, you can also freeze in them with a lid. I want to caution you though, this jar is one that we call has a shoulder. You'll see there's the curved sides, that's the shoulder of this jar. Do not use jars with a shoulder to freeze anything, because as it expands, it's not going to bypass that shoulder. It's going to expand, and then the rim area, of course, is smaller, and it will crack or break. So it's something we don't recommend freezing in that one, but in this particular jar where it has the flat side straight up, perfectly fine to freeze in these. I would recommend leaving about a 1/2 inch of space and making sure that you don't overfill, so that when it does expand, it will not crack your jar. So we want to make sure that we're preserving those so that they're in good order. They've not lost any of their quality of flavor. They've not lost any of their quality of nutrition. So it is a good thing to make extra, make more than you can use at one time. So another thing that we didn't mention yet, you can add ice to your smoothie to make it thicker. It makes it more of a frozen texture. So you can add ice, and that would be just another way that you can improve or change the texture according to whatever it is that you like about a smoothie. So when we put it all together, we have seen the 3 steps: the base, the bulk, and the boost. And putting all of that together, we want to keep in mind, typically you will use a cup of the base, whether that be, and it could be any combination of these, of your yogurts, cottage cheese, or your milk or non-dairy milk products, 1 cup of that, and then 1.5 cups of your bulk, and that could be a combination of your fruits and vegetables. And keep in mind, if you add the beans, if you add the oats, that figures into your 1.5 cups. So it's fairly easy formula to remember, that you've got a cup of base, 1.5 cups of the bulk, and then a boost to taste. That could be whatever your preference is. We've got some cocoa here. We've got some peanut butter. So if you're using more of the unflavored milks or non-dairy milks, then you might want to boost it with some of the flavors that you enjoy. So those are some options. So overall, when we think about some of the advantages to making and consuming smoothies, we would say you can save money by making yours at home. You can save money by using things you have on hand. You can also save money by reducing the amount of unused fruit. Maybe have a dedicated freezer bag that you keep fruit that is about to go bad, but you're not going to use it. So just go ahead and toss that in the freezer, and you don't have to peel it. You don't have to do anything to it. You're going to be using it short term, so keep in mind that it's good to label that with the date and what it is, because sometimes overripe fruit is a little unrecognizable in the freezer, and we want to make sure that we've noted what it is and when it was put in the freezer. Another thing that to me is an advantage is that the personal size blenders, or measuring your portions, really helps you with portion control. And if you know how much you've packed into that little smoothie, that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you think about those ingredients that you've put in, it really is a lot of food. It's a lot of ingredients that are good for you, very nutritious, low in fat, low in sugar, so a very healthy. They call this the ultimate breakfast smoothie. So that is something that we definitely could get behind in terms of a good nutritious breakfast. Also, keep in mind that smoothies are best enjoyed after you've just prepared them, especially if you're using ice to make it frosty. Once that ice has melted, and you will notice that it's going to increase in the water content, so it's best to go ahead, eat that as a slushy smoothie, and make sure that you enjoy that in a timely way. Also, it's an easy way to get those fruits and vegetables in and keep those calories in check, because usually fresh fruits and vegetables are the #1 choice in terms of dietary needs. People that are watching their intake of sugar or natural sugar even, it's recommended that type 2 diabetics watch their intake of fruit in smoothies, so you can make good choices with the base, and then the bulk needs to be within your dietary requirements in terms of the amount even of natural sugar, because you don't want to upset that balance on your diabetic diet. And the last thing that I would want to mention, that smoothies are simple to make. There's not a lot of cleanup. It always contains healthy fruits, vegetables, and things that we like and enjoy. And for people on the go, they tell me that if they make a batch and freeze those, that it's easy for them to grab and take it with them to work or enjoy on the way to work. And that way you haven't skipped a meal and then eaten something you probably shouldn't have, or could have done a better choice with that. So keep in mind, we have recipes here at the Extension office for smoothies. We have a lot of good information about a variety of ways that you can incorporate that. And we're here at our new location at 2081 Mayfield Highway, and we would love to see you. Thank you.